Hi, and welcome back to the Bitter BM podcast. I'm Felicia, your Bitter BM, and here I speak about all the things that made me bitter, but eventually made me better, transformed me into the person I am today. Now, I've made a few podcasts already, just giving a background about myself, my relationship with my mother, meeting her for the first time, and how that went on for the time that I did live with her. I also spoke about how I became a teen mom. And based on that one video alone, I can categorize myself as a victim. I was a victim of sexual exploitation as a child. And what I will say is that is a part of my life story. It's a part of my life that I cannot change, because without that happening to me, I really wouldn't have my kids. And I'll tell anybody, my kids are the best things to happen to me. Like, my kids are it. They are the number one and number two, in no specific order, love of my life, because I was a lonely child. I don't have any sisters. I never grew up with cousins, not really had any friends. So when my eldest daughter came along, trust and believe, I was happy, even though some may say I shouldn't be, or I shouldn't have been, because I was a teen mom. What am I doing with a kid? I was happy because I had company. Based on everything that happened surrounding, their father, I'm a victim, but I don't have a victim mentality. When I was younger, I used to daydream a lot as a coping mechanism, just because of how my home life was going with my mom, and not being able to deal with that. I didn't have anyone to talk to about it. Couldn't talk to my mom about what she was doing and how it was wrong. So I used to daydream, and I always used to think, things are going to be different one day. Things aren't always going to be like this. Unfortunately, I never got to experience a better life with her, because she put me out of her house when I was 16, daughter in tow. And so as I went along into my later teenage years, I lived in shelters until I finally got my own place. And then on my second apartment, I stayed with their dad for a little bit, or he stayed with me for a little bit, and that went downhill. And within that time, a lot of other stuff happened. I don't necessarily want to get into it anymore. I feel like so far the podcast has been very depressing. The earlier chapters of my life are really very sad and unfortunate, but it is a part of my life, and those stories will come up one day. But I've been victimized so many times by people, and it started very early. But for some reason, I don't have a victim mentality, and I feel like this is in part due to the fact that I always create a distraction for myself, so I don't have to think about what happened to me. When my daughter came along, she became another distraction for me, in a sense, because I didn't have time to think about the fact that my mother was being mean to me, or that, I was having a terrible high school experience. I had a baby to take care of, and I had to try my best with the little knowledge that I had to actually protect her the best I could, and try to be a mom as a teenager. Because I had a daughter, I always felt that I owed it to her to try to do better. I owed it to her to do my best to take care of her, do my best to feed her, do my best to teach her, do my best to make sure that she was going to be able to have a better opportunity than myself. Now, once her sister came along when I was 20 years old, it was the same story all over again. I had these two kids that I had to take care of. I couldn't think about the fact that I was in a terrible relationship and somebody wasn't treating me the best, and I wanted to leave, but I didn't have, the resources to do it when I wanted to. And it actually took a social worker to get me out of the social worker getting me out of my apartment was the catalyst for me ending that relationship. But you know, everything happens for a reason, and I'm grateful to her, whoever that social worker is. I don't even know the lady's name. I'm grateful to her because she did change our lives. Now, if I was to start playing the blame game, I could say my mom used to abuse me. My mom used to yell at me and treat me terribly. My mom put me out of the house with my baby when I was a teenager. And so I can't do all these things. I can't be a great mother. I can't love anybody. I have to do this because she did it to me. If I was to say, oh, their father did this to me, their father did that to me, and so I have to continue on to be whatever his expectations were for me as a mother, as a young lady. Even though people have victimized me, hurt me, I don't sit in that sadness. I don't care to, because I don't see it as progressive. It's not helping me in any way. And I feel like if I ever did, I wouldn't be able to get out of it. I'd be stuck for a very long time, and I don't want to be stuck. It actually stunts a lot of your growth, mentally and emotionally, and it prevents you from actually being accepting to all the great things that life has to offer. I'm a victim, but I don't have a victim mentality, and I can attribute that to leaving my victim self in every circumstance where I have been victimized, leaving that self in the past, learning the lesson, and then choosing to move forward with my life. I'm not saying this is an easy thing to do. After you have experienced so much trauma, so much hurt, so much pain, it creates a mental block up here, to the point where you start having certain ideations, if you get my drift. And a part of you coming out of that is to actually keep moving forward, not getting stuck and dwelling in the fact that certain things happen to you in life. Life, unfortunately, happens to all of us. A lot of our circumstances are unfortunate, misfortunate, and that's just how it goes. The best thing you can do for yourself is to not dwell, not get stuck up here on the sadness, and moving forward. Beyonce says, always stay gracious, best revenge is your paper. And I'm not a rich person, so my best revenge onto anyone who victimized me in the past is to actually show them that, hey, you did this to me, but you didn't cripple my life. You didn't actually stop anything. My life is going to go on to be better than you could have ever imagined, and the lives of my children are going to be even greater.